I now give the floor to the permanent observer of the Observer State of Palestine.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you for convening this important and timely debate on children and armed conflict, and we thank the Secretary General for his annual report. We also thank SRSG Ms. Virginia Gamba for her briefing and the other briefers. Mr. President, year after year, report after report, aggression after aggression, the UN has placed the situation of Palestinian children in the occupied Palestinian territory, including East Jerusalem, among the areas where the highest number of violations against children were verified. Yet, still Israel was not listed, but rather shielded from scrutiny and accountability. Not listing Israel for all these past years was an abandonment of Palestinian children and denying them justice and protection, and Israel took it as a license to harm them more. It is regrettable it took a genocidal war against our people, an unprecedented crisis for our children, to finally add Israel to the list of shame this year. Mr. President, Gaza has become a graveyard for children. Nearly 16,000 have been violently killed by Israel. 21,000 children are still missing, presumed crushed and buried under the rubble of their homes, shelters, or in mass graves, or detained by Israel with no ability to trace them. More children have been killed in Gaza in 8 months than have been killed in all armed conflicts globally over the past 4 years. Gaza's children have once broke world records for the most basketballs dribbled or for the most kites flown simultaneously, are now, if alive, displaced, injured, traumatized, orphaned, and desperately in need of safety under relentless Israeli bombardment and brutal attacks targeting their communities, their families, their lives. Our children should have soon been finishing their school year and set to start their summer vacation, simply enjoying the crowded beaches of Gaza as their only relief during Gaza's hot summer. They would be joining UNRWA summer camps and probably attempting to break more world records in sports, sending us another message of hope and joy. But instead, Israel destroying their UNRWA schools, once a safe space for them to learn and play, and now no longer even a safe place for them to shelter and seek refuge. Our children, boys and girls, Muslims and Christians, are escaping with their families from crowded home to crowded home, from tent to tent, from hospital to hospital, sick and hungry, tired and scared, terrorized and traumatized. For 8 months, all the morality that we thought existed in the world has been turned on its head. Photos and videos of Palestinian children and parents begging for help and safety have flooded our social media. We have seen starving children too weak to cry. We have seen injured children with burns all over their soft skin or with no limbs fighting for life. Newborns in incubators gasping for breath. Children born and killed during this war who never even got the chance to have a birth certificate. Wounded children with no surviving family member. We have seen children stripped, handcuffed, and blindfolded and detained for days and months. We have seen parents clinging to the last minute to the motionless and silent bodies of their small children, not ready to let go. We have seen a mother torn between 2 options: to sit by the bed of her baby in coma or to attend to her surviving children in their tent. What is wrong with this world? Where is your humanity? Where is your collective resolve and responsibility to pressure Israel to stop the madness it unleashed on our people day and night? What are you waiting for to enforce an immediate ceasefire? Enforce a ceasefire now. Save our and your humanity now, because it is most certainly on the line. Think of our children in Gaza and their parents when you all go home to your children. Save our children from this unfathomable pain and fear. Stop Israel's war. Put an end to its genocide of our people now. Mr. President, adding Israel to the list of shame this year outraged Israel because the persistent political appeasement and double standards made it believe it was exempt from the rule of law, made it believe its own lie that the Israeli army is the so-called most moral army in the world. It is a lie that cannot mislead anyone anymore. There is nothing moral in using attacks against civilians, including children, as a weapon of war, as a tool for political pressure in negotiations, or a catalyst to stay in power. There is nothing moral in attacking aid convoys and humanitarian personnel. There is nothing moral in withholding and arbitrarily delaying humanitarian aid or using it as a bargaining chip or presenting it as favor when a few aid trucks are allowed in to a starved population, half of them children. These are not isolated acts by troubled Israeli soldiers. These are widespread policies and systematic practices meant to intimidate, terrorize, and subjugate the Palestinian people, who have never stopped aspiring for freedom and dignity, despite this sheer brutality. There is nothing moral in occupation, nothing moral in apartheid. Adding Israel to the list of shame is the right step in the right direction towards recognizing the suffering of our children and the trauma it has caused to our entire society. It is a key step towards accountability, and we will work with the UN and relevant stakeholders to ensure that a UN action plan to end and prevent grave violations against Palestinian children is adopted, and that Israel shall not be delisted until it fully seizes the commission of all violations against our children and fully complies with its obligations under international law. Finally, our children are denied their right to life, to freedom, to their childhood, one generation after another. Palestinian children deserve that you uphold the Charter's oath and save succeeding Palestinian generations from the scourges of Israeli's occupation, and allow Palestinian and Israeli children to live in peace and security. Thank you very much, Mr. President.